Hello and welcome to this CMTV podcast. Today I'm here with Glenn, and we're talking about assertive versus passive men and what the implications of that are. So, first question to you, Glenn. What were you like in your relationship in terms of being assertive or passive?
Thanks for having me here today, mate. In my relationship, I was more passive because with my partner, I was trying to create a life for her that I could see that she wanted. So I did give a lot of myself and give in to a lot that she wanted and was wanting her way. So for a very long time, I was very passive and putting her first rather than myself. So then the kids came along, and I was still being very passive because I wanted the family of my own and create the life that I wanted for myself and my family. And then so that carried on for quite some time. And but I did find after quite a few years, seeing that my partner was actually using my compassion and being passive as a way to manipulate me. So, but then that passive had already been ingrained in me as a program. And then over time, that started to lean towards jealousy of what she was getting her needs met over mine, and so on, and then not having my needs fulfilled within the relationship.
And so, Glenn, how do you think that actually affected the relationship as you went along, being more passive than you were, say, assertive?
Well, it affected in a great way because I was missing out on a lot of things that I wanted to do and I wanted to achieve within the relationship and within my life. That I gave up. I felt that I gave up, and I lost so much because I was being passive and not taking that chance to become a bit more assertive within the relationship.
Yeah, I think in my own experience, I too led a fairly passive relationship, and often I wouldn't want to conflict, and so I would try and avoid that, and consequently gave in on many of the interactions that we had, and let her have her own way. And the problem with that is the frustration would build up in me over time, and whether that was subconsciously or consciously, that frustration would eventually come to a boiling point and occasionally tip me over the edge. So I can see now, looking back, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, but looking back, if I'd been a little more assertive in the relationship, perhaps I might have had a different outcome. So, and that is our basic topic of today. Should men be more assertive in a relationship rather than too passive?
Yeah, because I also became more aware that when I tried to be more assertive and go up the top, the ego started to kick in. And then I'd see the ego taking too much control. And then there would be even more. I would cut back more negativity and anger back from my partner because of that. So, but deep down inside, I am a passive guy, and that's the kind of life I wanted to live. But I wanted to have a relationship that we were on the same track.
Yeah, In thinking back about it, I would say that even in being passive at the times I was, it was quite frustrating for her because she was looking for some interaction, a strong interaction, as she often did, and she didn't get it from me. I was too passive. I didn't want the conflict, and so that would even aggravate her even more, and lead to a series of frustrations.
Yeah, yeah. I also saw that too in my relationship.
So today, I think that the new manhood, the new need for manhood is a little bit of a need for a focus on it being more assertive in a relationship, not to the point of aggravation, but to the point of putting our points forward, so that we get our satisfaction in being able to put our points forward and help the relationship along.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a matter of finding a balance between being assertive and passive. Because if we get too assertive, then it becomes power for us.
That's right.
And then we want more, and then we can find people, our loved ones, the ones we love around us, that they will go, well, I don't like this, and then we lose them. So I think it's a balance.
Absolutely. Without that balance, either the ego is pushing forward and overpowering it, and if you have it the other way, then the power is with the other person, and their ego is pushing forward, and we have conflict. So the best thing is, as you say, balance, but not being too afraid of interacting. Okay, but making sure that our points get put forward.
Yeah, because we'll actually do more damage if we try and lock away our feelings and emotions to keep the other person happy. Because whether it's a fear of losing them, or something majorly going wrong that will upset the cart that happens at the moment.
Yeah, that's right, Glenn. I think fear certainly comes into a lot of the interactions between two people, and quite often you don't want to upset them. You don't want the consequences of upsetting them to occur, and there is a fear factor, I guess, about what happens if you were to say something that would end up in losing. Either losing the trust or losing the actual relationship.
When I look back on it now, it's like when you're younger and you're trying to find a relationship, and the amount of you get to worry about rejection. Yes. And you do find that rejection happens more until you find the girl that you have something in common with. And then it's probably because you don't want to lose that relationship because you've had so many rejections over that time that you're worried about being assertive and trying and just explaining what you want and which will benefit the relationship.
Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind, Glenn, that that many men suffer from a perceived rejection from an emotional and a feelings point of view, and they're often unable to express those feelings very well when rejection occurs, and they handle it in a different manner to what I've seen women do. So the basis of, as you rightly point out, perhaps in the subconscious, rejection has been over and over and over again, and that's led to a resistance to upset the apple cart, so to speak, by being too assertive or too demanding in the relationship.
Yeah, so that's definitely true, and when we feel trapped, we get to feel trapped in our own mind and body about. We want to be able to say something, be assertive, and that we know within ourselves that it won't hurt the relationship, but we still have that fear that it may. And of course, energies between ourselves and our partner can be sensed.
That's right. That's right. I often think that men wear masks, and perhaps many masks, and as those masks come off in a relationship, in order to get to the real person underneath, that has an impact on how the other person perceives myself, say, in a relationship. And I think it's very important that we understand that these masks are taken off one by one by one, and when the real person is at the end of that, it may or may not be the compatibility you thought in the first place.
But and also the communication that we do sometimes get fear of communications, of talking about it, because we won't. We can talk about it at a men's group, or even down the pub with our mates after a few beers. So, having that more open up communication, to know that the persons in the relationships to speak, and the other ones to listen but not respond, and understand.
And that brings us to that very critical point that we need to be able to respond to a circumstance rather than react to it. And too often we react, and we often overreact, and that sort of dissolves relationships in the end anyway. So we really need some skills. Today men need some skills to be able to respond appropriately in times of conflict in a relationship. And the good thing about CMTV, of course, Glenn, is that it presents a series of videos where men have shown that they've gone through difficult times in the past, and as a result of coming along to the weekly men's meetings, they've had a breakthrough. They've been able to reduce the hurt. They've been able to look at their emotions and understand that they are not alone in what's happening in their lives, and that other men share. Men share their stories in the meetings, and it's a great healing for many men.
It's allowing yourself to communicate and to learn and expand your knowledge, to understand what is going on. And especially for myself, I thought I was the only one in the entire world out of 7 billion people in this situation, until I started going to the men's group and understanding and getting knowledge from other men that are in situations that they may not be in the exact same situation I'm in, but to know that they're dealing with their own situation.
Yeah, that's a very important point, and probably one of the reasons that even professional health, health professionals themselves and clinics send along people to the men's groups for that very basis of hey, you can share a story here, but hear what else, or, hear the experience of other men, and realize, well, maybe there's a lot of similarity. We're all different, but a lot of similarity in the outcomes.
Yeah, that's so true. That to be able to just go and speak what's happening for the week is a great release, instead of and having no feedback, but also hearing the stories of what's gone in other people's lives, other men's lives during the week.
Absolutely, and we must remember that men are not particularly good at communicating with other men. Often they don't have a lot of other friends, generally speaking. And so they don't have a lot of outlets. They can't talk to their family about issues in their lives. They can't talk to their co-workers or their mates down the pub. As much as they might want to, these are very deep and personal feelings. And so being able to share that with other men in the men's meetings, it really unloads that burden. And amazing. We've seen some really amazing outcomes there.
Yes, we certainly have. And I see it in myself from when I first joined over 18 months ago. with my condition and my situation, yeah, I can totally say that I'm a completely different person I am now than when I was back then.
I would agree with that, Glenn. I'm in the same boat. I came in during the procedure of a divorce. I was in a fairly, my mind was in a lot of turmoil. Today I'm a different person, absolutely. And every time I go to the meetings, I learn something. I glean something from somebody else's story. It's almost like a mirror to my life.
Yeah. So yeah. I get great benefit of going once a week. And even wandering down to some of the others occasionally, it just helps me in my life. And even though I do spend a lot of time by myself, I am comfortable with myself, and I enjoy it. And I've built some good friendship with men in the groups.
Excellent. So in the end, Glenn, would you recommend the Complete Men's weekly meetings to other men?
Definitely. And if you're not in an area that has a Complete Men's group, certainly search out to see what's around.
And keep your eye on CMTV, Complete Men TV, the YouTube channel. Keep an eye on there because they publish and post a raft of information that's really important for men. So our time's up today, Glenn. So thank you very much for joining us here. Look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you, Mary.
And thank you to CMTV for making all this possible.